Alright guys, so we are back for another hot take tier list. So the last time I did something like this was back in January. So I feel like that we have a lot more units to kind of go over. So that's why we are going to make another one right now. So same as last time, I am simply just going to place all the unit in their respective, I guess their tier. And then we would just kind of talk about them. I think a lot of them you guys may not agree with them. So we will definitely go over why they are where they are. I think last time I simply focused more on the arena aspect where I did not really talk about, let's say, the majority of the game content, because I think arena is probably the only content people extensively talk about more. So I feel like it's not really justice to any of the other gameplay that we will be getting or that we already have. So that's why I think this one is more based on, comprehensively what they are able to do. So let's kind of get started. We have the S Gundam to, or not the S Gundam, the S tier, my bad. S Gundam obviously is in S tier, no pun intended right there. Simply, I feel like S Gundam has, subjectively been performing way better than we all anticipated in multiple content in arena, obviously. So I think it's definitely the best placement for that unit. Full armor unicorn probably a hot take for majority of you guys, but I feel like full armor unicorn definitely offers way more than you guys have downplay it for. Simply is able to kind of give you that resistance. I think is a huge factor because it definitely does allow your overall team to survive a little bit longer. So if you are talking about content that are longer, like a raid battle where the enemy, they started to do a lot more damage, like the one that we have last time around. I feel like having a full armor unicorn definitely did make my team a little bit more, sustained damage wise is definitely a little bit better. And then in terms of arena, you guys already know, this unit does better when you take damage. So what better way to use this unit than arena, right? And then some of the content definitely works really good as well, so definitely deserving to be an A tier right there. I want to say it's consistent. All right, that's the main thing about the form of unicorn. Senenju's time, definitely a great unit to have. It targets generic unit, and given the lifespan of this game, there are just tons of generic unit to run around. So I feel like this unit there's always a place for this unit to excel in. So simply we have that. Double Zeta Gundam, definitely a prominent unit similar to what the S Gundam could do, so that's why it's going to be in the S tier. And then we have the Sister Queen. Sister Queen is by far one of the more harder units you get, but it definitely comes at a price. It's just too good. Maxed out Transcendent skill, this unit is a monster. I don't have it, so I'm definitely behind for sure, but this unit definitely is really good, simply across the line. Transcendent skill makes this unit perform way better than anticipated, so definitely going to be way up there. Zaku 1 with the big gun is still a unit that is able to shine in across the board in any content, arena, general content, is still able to provide that consistent damage, so that's what we love about that unit. And then we have a Zaku 2. Despite the fact that this is a evasion unit and a raid unit, but I feel like there's no other unit that can perform as good, as more consistent as Zaku 2 is able to bring to the table. And last but not least, we have Zeta Gundam, still by far one of the more consistent limited unit this far. So I feel like I can't place this unit anywhere lower than an S tier at the moment, but definitely time will change. So I think when we revisit this list, another 3 months from now, we can definitely kind of shift things around. But I think for the time being, the S tiers is definitely, I think it's pretty much solidified, I feel like. So let's kind of talk about the A tier. I think a lot of hot take for majority of the people is definitely Sasabi. Many people could probably argue that Sasabi could be S tier, but I disagree. S Gundam has been a pretty problematic unit to kind of get a lot of the damage going on, and evading is just a hassle for this unit. So with that said, I feel like it does not perform as consistent as you want it. So I cannot really put it in S tier when majority of the unit in S tier is consistent, it's solid, it does what you need at at any given situation. So I feel like Sasabi is definitely where it should be. I think probably some of the more hot take one is like, I don't know, this one, the Banshee Norn. Yeah, no, this is just the Banshee NTD. I think this is the alright unit. I think it's pretty consistent, but it does as well. So I'll still kind of give it like a passing score on that one. The O probably people would probably put it in S tier as well, but I think the O kind of suffered the same fate as Esken or Sasabi. It has a lot of RNG chances where you do have to evade, but when you do evade, it definitely does great things for us. But other than that, I think for a tank, if we do consider the general spectrum of all the other content, I think this is definitely a very high score for it. So I'm just gonna leave it right around there. A surprising one is definitely GPO4. GPO4 is actually a very solid unit to use, despite the fact that it is it does not innately do a lot for on the table, whatever. But the buffing and debuffing is definitely really solid. I have used this unit and I have ran across this unit in arena, and now the content is pretty good. Alright, so I think if you guys don't think the GPO4 is up there, I would definitely say it's up there for sure. We have Sidekick Zaku. I think this is a unit that's more, I don't know if it's still an A tier. I don't know. I'm having like a second thought on this unit because of the fact that this unit is it's not really as consistent. It relies on allies dying, so I think that part definitely does bother me a little bit. So I think after we're talking about it right now, I do feel like B tier is probably a better option. I feel like so. We would just kind of put it right around there. So I think other than that, all the other one are pretty solid. You guys already know GPO or not GPO1. Blue Destiny Unit 1 is a new type killer, and I think you'll just be getting more and more new type as the game comes out. So B or A tier right now should be where the Blue Destiny Unit 1 should be. Heading down to the B tier, I think there's a lot of options that I feel like people could argue that's not that great or not what it should be. Hakashiki is definitely the one that you guys would say, oh, it should be an S tier, but I disagree. This unit probably does not really perform good except for arena or except for any other content that has multiple enemy because of the unavoidable status and the AoE EXQ damage dealing capability. Other than that, this unit simply does not offer anything else. So yeah, I think B tier is where this unit is going to be at. The other one is definitely Easy 8. Even though when you guys do take a look at the JP tier list, so JP tier list is more like a reference. Don't always take it as don't take it literally, because keep that in mind. Global and JP are not parallel. You can kind of consider them operating on a different perspective in a way, because like we're getting a unit at a weird schedule than what JP has. So in terms of the Easy A, it simply does not perform as where JP was. So I have validated that many times, and when I even used it at JP, it was low investment. It was even performing better than what Global was providing at P5. So or P5 and T5. So I simply cannot give it a S tier at the moment until we see better results. So I think 3 months from now, we can definitely expect this unit to be in S tier when we do have I guess of a better change up. I just think at the moment it's really bad. So I think B tier is definitely where it should be. I think all the other ones are definitely right around where they are. They're not that bad, but they're not great where they perform. Like, they're not contributing the biggest damage portion anymore. I think the Unicorn NTD, this unit used to be really great, like probably 2-3 months ago, but I think time definitely has changed when we just got better unit, and especially this one being a generic unit, it's definitely always a easy target for replacement. So we have that. We have GPO1 full Bernier. Still a pretty good option. The support capability with the evasion and all that good stuff is still one of the better ones we have. So I think right around that should be fine. All the other one, I feel like this one for gear with the Gundam head. This one is kind of like a niche option because it performs really great when you're talking about facing off against a yellow type enemy. But other than that, I think a lot of the utility definitely does fizzle out a little bit. So that's why we have it right there. And then we have the GPO2. I think GPO2, there's the content that excels really great, which is the augmentation event. I think we get that at least once a month, and then at that point in time, this unit is definitely going to be an S tier. But Any other kind besides arena, I feel like general content wise, I think damage wise it definitely suffers just a little bit. So I think in terms of B tier, it should be where it's a good place for that unit. Speaking of that, I think for the Zaku 3, I don't know, B tier would be a little bit too high for this unit because simply this is a unit that obviously excel. You can say exceptionally in arena because you deal damage, you always recover HP. But I feel like for other content wise, it does not really contribute that much because you don't. For other content, you're not always looking for a unit that can survive the longest. You're looking for a unit that is able to clear the event for you. So I think for that, I'm just gonna change that right now and kind of put it along the C tier. Just gonna be probably hot take, but I think right around there should be fine. So C tier, I don't think I need to talk about that tier list too much in terms of the C tier right there. Simply a lot of this unit just simply does not make the cut anymore. Ricochet used to be pretty good because of the buffing capability, but I think definitely outshadowed by its counterpart, this Sasabi. It literally does more, able to do damage as well, so right around there. This unit, the Saki Saku, it performs good in the augmentation event, but again, in terms of general content wise, it simply lacks the characteristic. It wants to be a tank. It has a lot of the more resistant base skill whatnot, but I feel like if you want to have that, you gotta be like somewhere around the full armor unicorn. Full armor unicorn definitely does it better than the Saki Zanku can do, so that's why it's definitely a more like a flop in a situation. So it's gonna be right around there. This unit, the full armor Gundam Thunderbolt, it definitely performs good in arena-ish, but any other content, I feel like it definitely lacks the output, so it's just gonna be right around there. All the other one are more like support, like Delta Plus. This could be good, but definitely needs high investment. And I think at this point in time, we have things that are like, I don't know, like GPO4. That's probably doing way better job of what Delta Plus is doing. Just kind of a hot tick right there, but I think GPU4 is definitely offering a little bit more than what the Delta Plus could be doing, right? So I think right around there should be fine. Some of the other one, we have like Near the Gundam. It's a good support initially, right, at launch, but we have things that are better now. We have like GPU4, so always gonna be mentioning that for the for the red element specifically. So yeah, all the other one, I think they simply just don't perform that good. And then D tier is simply any unit that are, let's say, event units. They simply just don't really do that great. We have some other exception. We have Nightingale. I feel like it's definitely a unit that dies really early on. So I think probably not that good. Senenju, definitely not great, even though it's a unit that you have to form. Supposedly it should be good, but eventually we would get a better Senenju. So at this point in time, this Senenju definitely does not make the cut, unfortunately. And then GPO1, yeah, not many people still use GPO1, unfortunately. It definitely just lacks a lot of characteristic within the skill 1 and skill 2 that would make it good. So I think the D tier probably would be a place that I want to put it. But other than that, I think that is definitely it in terms of this version of the tier list. You guys can definitely let me know how much of this you guys would agree or disagree or whatnot. You guys can definitely discuss this among yourselves in the comment section. But other than that, I think that's going to be pretty much it for me, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one.